Okay guys, so we're going to jump straight into it today. Oh, flip, you can't quite see my leg. Gosh, okay, we're going to have to adjust this angle slightly. But let me explain some things while we're doing that. Obviously, I'm going to cut that. Okay, that's not quite right. So obviously seeing that is super not ideal. But let's see, what are we doing? Okay, so guys, today we're going to do a 15-minute process of... Okay, so I'm just going to raise my foot to that level so that we know. But essentially what we're going to do is we're going to combine two things, that one of them being gyro jacks, astro jacks, and general flow. The game, so that's actually two things already, but then also standing on one leg. Now, the person I heard about this tip from, it was kind of founded in, dealing with neurodivergency or facilitating a healthier integration with neurodivergency. And they said that standing on the one leg for 5 minutes, that's 2.5 minutes each side, so we'll do it like 3 times in total, because I like threes, and it fills it out nicely. So but, I mean, look, it makes sense, because what you're doing is you're connecting a whole bunch of different points in your mind. Oh. Okay, sorry guys, and then also forgetting that we're actually doing two other things. So just off the bat, it's easy to just do the still one, but as soon as it starts bringing motion in, it gets a little more difficult. Not building the energy up, so to speak. It's a bit easier. I would recommend having space and probably like nothing too hard on the ground. I've got a carpet underneath, which I'm thinking might be making it a little bit easier for me, because it's just a bit of a bonus then. And just kind of, take it easy. You don't need to be, the best at it in the beginning. You're going to do it a lot more. And then there's also something that comes to mind, which is making sure that you ground into it. So as opposed to just standing on your foot, to actually push your foot into the ground. And that's quite, like that's not necessarily the easiest thing, I think, because our feet aren't quite as strong as they could be. And therefore, what's a really nice trick, and it's a bit of a yoga trick, is to start lifting your one foot up. This would be much easier if you could see it. We'll need to do that in the future, but essentially to have one foot coming up, so that you're kind of just toeing the ground slightly, and then you start bringing all of the elements in as you do that, so that you're getting more and more comfortable with it. You go ahead and switch, and I hypothesize that when switching, it'll initially be a little bit slower, but it will actually pick it up quite quickly to being able to maybe do it better than what it was, because you're actually priming it, and specifically from left to right, leg raised. But I suppose you're kind of always actually working with one leg and the other, which is really cool, because they say if you want to do something really well, go ahead and do it on your left side, because then you have to actually pay more attention to how it's happening. So obviously, the trick is also wanting to figure out how to focus on both the left and the right and the lowest extremities, as well as the grounding force of it. I think having the jacks with it actually makes it a little bit easier, because you're not so wholly focused on just the one thing. And then obviously, the different pieces as well to it, like, camera presence and smile and all of these different things, as well as then the diversity in motions and tricks and playing the game as well. Woo. Woo. Okay, so we're almost to switch again. Oh, guys. But yeah, so the idea with this is that there are large numbers of connections all through our body and our brain. And wanting to help reconnect more of our space, our neural space, helps us more easily work through whatever we're going through, because it liberates more energy for us to move through the experience. Oh gosh. So we're practicing and training ourselves to be able to be more connected. And that's where, like little bits of play And I guess one of the things I'm currently wondering is what makes play play? Is it like the, oh yeah, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get you, oh I got me, oh yeah. Is it the intense focus? Because I guess flow is noticing something changing. And that's where, with the game, you're wanting to focus on something happening, focus on it changing, focus on it moving, and then not needing it to change in any specific way, but being open to it changing however it is that it changes. And as that grows, there's more capability, I guess, to flow. And slowly becoming aware of different points where it is that you are aware of those different changing points. Oh my god. Say changing, 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 changing. So yeah, it's a whole kerfuffle of things. And I think it's also nice to have it in this way where it's, oh gosh, so many different pieces working together. Because this way, what is so many pieces working together? It's a good question. The specific area of the brain kind of feels like back, lower back, middle-ish. Not quite back, but like middle. But this is just hypothesizing. This is just going off of, okay, well, this is kind of what it feels like, so let's see. And I can actually just Google search it and look it up to see, which is a nice way to go about then testing the understanding, the knowledge, and the awareness of self. Oh gosh. That feels like it's mostly related, or basically the idea is that there's an area of my brain which is specifically related to my feet and the coordination of them, and then there's an area related to this, and fine hand-eye coordination, and then all of these other things with it. I guess proprioception is actually a really good way of putting it. And as one starts to become more aware of that, there are more pieces that come into play. And I think it's also like, I would hazard a guess that exposure to it ultimately makes it easier, because it feels oftentimes that things are rushed through and there's a particular reward that we feel for the instant gratification that we're exposed to everywhere. And it's easy to associate with that instant gratification without even necessarily realizing that's what we're doing. So to do something like this, it's a micro practice of micro practices that is kind of targeting a variety of spaces, specifically in and for the purpose of bringing a shift in. And a shift, I literally just mean moving energy. Because it's kind of like that thing of like you could be sitting, or you could be doing all of this stuff. Oh gosh, okay, I went a bit much. And it's also then like, now we're actually teaching limits. Because it's okay, like, I'm not going to lie, my leg's getting a bit tired. But that's great. Because it's an epic way to actually work those muscles. And then, oh gosh, and also to activate your feet. Like your feet, as I'm sure most people know. If you don't, that'd be awesome. Happy to be able to share it with you. There are so many different connection points in the foot. Being like, well, I can even do this one. That's nice. I don't know if it's cheating, but technically I've done my 5 minutes, so now it's just free flow. Oh. But that's also works in a completely different way. Jesus Christ, guys. But yeah, your foot has pieces of all of your body in it. So by stimulating energy there, you're stimulating it throughout your whole body, which allows you to really feel things change, move, shift, become, which is great. Oh gosh. Okay. Oh, dance it out. I'm not dancing, guys. I know, I feel like You ever just feel like you're quite disconnected from your dancing? I actually, funnily enough, for the most part, don't. Which one goes on? Oh, it must be on that one, not this one. But recently I have been. And I guess that's also where like all of these like forcible practices are, because like I love fire dancing and regular dancing and all of these things. I would love to do salsa, to be honest with you. There's so many different things. I am doing so many different things. But sometimes it feels like this is where I think I really does using something external to make something easier. Like, is that crutch necessary? And I mean, not so much necessary so much as like, is it really beneficial? For sure, it might be easiest to do that. And look, I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm going to learn to salsa. I could. By watching a YouTube video, I totally could, actually, to be honest. And perhaps that's the whole thing, is by learning to do these things without the class or the thing. I mean, exceptions being like rock climbing, because you need certain gear and all of that stuff. And salsa, you know, you need a partner at some point. But you can take certain amounts into your own capability beforehand, and then that puts it in your own responsibility, and then you're actually doing as much as you can before making it someone else's. Well, not making it someone else's responsibility. I mean, if they're doing the class, you know, it's not exactly like, oh my god, you need to be the one to show me the way. But it is saying, like, you know what, this is how it's going to happen, as opposed to me making it happen. And I guess I don't know. I think that's also where it's like qualitatively, it's easy to get caught up in those things. Like I was doing Qigong, which is really cool because you can see the thing, but it still goes so quickly. I was doing classes last year sometime. Really, really fun. Loved it. Still love Qigong, but getting to doing it, I just haven't done it. You know what I mean? Like it's fine. Piece by piece, we make it a lot sort of situation. But what I feel with it is that it does take having and developing that wanting to